You've just entered the no delusion zone. I'm David Dubato. I'm going to make this podcast relatively short today. Folks, I used to do a weekly podcast episode called Scumbag of the Week. But after the November 5th election here in the United States, I realized that there are so many scumbags right now crawling around the White House, the U.S. Capitol, and the environs, those areas, that there's just not enough time in my day to make enough scumbag of the week contest or episodes, and certainly not even enough scumbags of the day. So I'm not going to do that anymore. But when the occasion arises, I'm going to call out the scumbags. And there's certainly some right now. Look, what this episode of the No Delusion Zone is all about is the unconscionable, disgusting, loathsome, nauseating pardons that President, and boy, I hate using that word with his name, Donald Trump issued to virtually all of the over 1,500 domestic terrorists and traitors who violently stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, 2021, and viciously beat hundreds of U.S. Capitol and Washington DC police officers to the point that there were several hundred, I believe over 150 police officers injured, some of them severely injured, and over 5 died during and after the assault. And Donald Trump had the audacity to pardon all of them. Not only pardon them, but he said that they weren't violent, that there was no violence that day, and that those who had gotten sentenced were sentenced unjustifiably. Some of them, he said, got 3.5 to 4 years. 3.5 to 4 years for almost killing police officers, for violently confronting police officers with clubs, mace, bear spray, flag posts, brass knuckles, knives, and who knows what else. To the point, like I said, where over 150 of them were injured, several seriously, and 5 died. That's a scumbag. Donald Trump is a scumbag. You know, not too long ago, and in fact, I think even today, the MAGA party, the fascist party of America, says that they stand behind the police. They back the blue. That's, of course, utter bullshit, because if they did, Trump would not have pardoned these traitors. And his fellow fascist party of America elected officials would not have made excuses for him. At least one of them would have come out and called Trump out for the absolute scumbag that he is, but none of them did. They made every excuse possible not to cross Donald Trump. Well, you know what? I'm a former police officer, and I take this very personally, as does, I would think, any other police officer who has his or her head screwed on straight. That's not part of the cult of Trump. This is disgraceful. This is a sad time for America. We have gone into darkness. We're not heading into darkness. We're there. We're there. So I never want to hear anyone tell me that the fascist party of America, MAGA, supports the police, back the blue, because obviously that's bullshit. And in the infamous words of Michael Finoni, the Washington DC police officer who was beaten nearly to death, tased almost to death, to Donald Trump, to Stuart Rhodes, and Enrique Tarrio of the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, to all 3 of these traitors, I will quote Michael Finone. Fuck you. And I mean that sincerely. That's all for today. If you want to hear more like this, and I hope you do, because this is the resistance. I and the tens of millions of other Americans like me will never, never accept this as normal. This is not normal. It will never be normal, and we will never accept it. So if you'd like to hear more of this, and I promise you, I won't always be this downbeat, this negative, this pessimistic. But when things like this happen, it would be disingenuous for me to be all smiles and say how wonderful things are, because things are not wonderful right now. But they will change with time and with effort and with iron will and resistance to this treason. So, if you'd like to hear more of this, if you want voices like mine to stay on the air, to stay on social media, to stay on YouTube, and voice the opposition against the treason, the fascism, the authoritarianism going on here in the United States of America, please hit the subscribe button. Tell others to watch this channel and hit the subscribe button. And go to buymeacoffee.com. Buy me a coffee. It does help. Look, folks, we're behind it. It's going to be a long, long period, a long, dark time, but we will come out on the other end. But I and others like me need your help. Subscribe, buy me a coffee, and take care, stay safe, and stay sane.